A wild and sometimes convoluted murder case finally got some closure today in Clark County. Back in 2005, this guy, Roy Russell, was sentenced to spend the rest of his life in prison for murdering a 14-year-old Vancouver girl named Chelsea Harrison. But then last year, Washington lawmakers decided to change the sentencing laws, and suddenly Russell's life sentence, that got a whole lot shorter. Today, he was resentenced to 26 years instead. Now, he's already served 17 years, so he's going to be out in 9 years, maybe even sooner if he gets credit for good behavior. For some background here, Russell was convicted of strangling Harrison to death in his Vancouver apartment. Russell had a lengthy criminal history at the time, and Harrison's murder was his third strike under Washington's three-strike law. That meant that he got that life sentence. But then last year, Washington lawmakers removed second-degree robbery as a strike, which was one of Russell's previous strikes. That allowed Russell and more than 100 other criminals to be resentenced to something less than true life in prison. Now, Ashley Corson's been following this case for the last several months. You were in the courtroom this morning. First, give us some of the background of what was going on there.
Yeah, pretty small courtroom, but there were a lot of Chelsea Harrison's loved ones and supporters, as well as the original trial prosecutor on that case. So they all packed in there. The current prosecuting attorney on this, handling this case, pressed for the maximum. That's what they asked for. So did Chelsea's loved ones. And that is in the end what the judge handed down. The maximum allowed under these guidelines, which was, after all the math is said and done, it'll be at the most 9 years more that he'll have to serve.
That is amazing. What was Chelsea's family's reaction to this?
You know, this is not what they wanted. They said nobody won here today. They're just very upset. They want Roy Russell to be in prison for the rest of his life, which is what the original sentence was. So they are devastated. And they also want answers from lawmakers, Pat. You know, they want some accountability is what they are pushing for. They feel this law should never have been passed. And to be fair, we did reach out to these lawmakers. They have never responded for comment on this story. So we want to play you a little clip from the trial attorney on this case. Here's what he told us today.
Absolutely disgusting. It just very much angers me. I know families watch this right now, so I'm going to try and be careful with my words, but to put all the sweat and the tears and the emotion and the fire, and the judge even noted that we did our job in 2005 based upon the laws that were on the books. There's no way we could have imagined 17 years later they were going to cut the knees out from our case. So it's very, very disturbing and upsetting, and no words can even describe it.
I could just hear people grinding their teeth all throughout the viewing area. Roy Russell also addressed the court and Chelsea's family today, right?
Yeah, so this was strange. I have been covering criminal cases like this for a long time, and I've never heard a defendant ask for the maximum penalty. So I kind of, swung my head around. He did. He asked the judge. He said, "I want the maximum." He says he apologized to Chelsea's family, said he was sorry, and that he's a changed man. And so what was odd, though, about it is that literally seconds before this hearing started, his attorney was still trying to get him waived from having to appear in person. So there was a disconnect there.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Didn't he say he was something about his family had been impacted as well?
That was another thing. That was one of those, you just felt for Chelsea's family, because Roy Russell addressed the court and he said, "I don't know whose family has had it worse. He goes, they lost their daughter, their granddaughter. My family has to deal with what I've done." But it was just it was a tough moment in the court.
Yeah.
You could just feel the emotion there.
That's brutal.
So it was hard.
All right. Thank you, Ashley.
Yeah, you bet.
Appreciate it.